Hello, my name is Amish, and we are back with another Disc Priest review of a 22 Waycrest Manor. This week is Tyrannical, Storming, and Raging. And yeah, I guess just a quick overview of things before we jump into it. I don't think that my gear has changed all that much since the last time I posted a VOD review. I might have gone up one eye level, but for the most part, I think that my stats have stayed the same. We're sitting at about 30% crit strike, 30% haste, then mastery, then versatility with a little leech and avoidance sprinkled in as well. I'm currently running a coagulated Genosaur blood and a sea star. I kind of am wishing that I had a more damage output trinket to work with, instead of sea star. I feel like sea star might be more of a good choice in raid, but I am kind of missing the oomph that I think something like I don't know, not beacon, but one, just a damage doing trinket could bring to a key. I'm missing that a little bit. Otherwise though, I do still have my Dreambinder, Loom of the Great Cycle, which does some damage. This is from Nimue, and that's been great in the meantime, but of course having sort of that plus a damage dealing trinket would just be such a great combo. So that's sort of what I'm interested in seeking out. Yeah, so that's that for stats and gear. I think looking at talents. So going into this one, I'm still sort of in the mindset of just trying to go into a dungeon and see what needs there are specific to the dungeon and sort of tailor my gameplay based off of that. And so for the most part, this talent build is just what I've been running as sort of my base standard build that I'm running for everything until I get to a point where I go in and use this build and say, you know what, actually it would make some more sense to drop Ultimate Penitence and put that point into something else. Or, you know what, it would make more sense to make sure that I have Phantasm here as opposed to, or I should say, make sure that I have something else as opposed to Phantasm here. But for the most part, this is sort of what we've been working with. I have Ultimate Penitence. I have my Rhapsody stacked Holy Nova. I did take Mass Dispel. Looking at it back, I don't think there was actually a need for Mass Dispel, so that would be a point I could put somewhere else. Absolutely mandatory, however, is improved Purify, however, since there are some diseases that go out here. Yeah, but for the most part, this is the sort of base talent build that I've been working with. In terms of the damage and healing spread, so this is where I really think I definitely have a lot of room for improvement here. And it's unfortunate because I went into this key with the intention of upping my overall DPS. I think though, ultimately I haven't run Waycrest Manor very often. I think this was just I don't even know. It's only been a couple times that I've run this. And so I still wasn't totally sure where I could be more offensive versus defensive, and didn't necessarily plan ahead in certain areas, which we'll see in the video. And that ended up in instances where I flubbed my Schism Shadow Covenant window and didn't get as many torments as I could have during my Mindbender windows. And so that's just that's just a couple of examples of what we'll see in the video, but we can see that definitely was the case with the percentage of my Mindbender damage here. Like I've said before, this could be a little bit higher, at least 25% or so from what I've seen. And this is a 21. So yeah, definitely there were many instances where I flubbed my Mindbender moment, which was not ideal at all. One thing I will say though is that Smite casts are much better. About 300 casts of Smite, which is significantly higher than what I've done in the past, so pat on the back for that. In terms of my weapon on use, that was I think that was pretty much every use that I could have gotten out of it for this dungeon. So that's great. It was about just over 5% of my overall. Holy Nova at about 5.6 of my overall with 63 casts. I think that that also was pretty well. I think that there were some instances that I could have cast it and didn't, but for the most part, happy with that outcome. Ultimate Penitence, I think this is a tricky one, and I think how I've been thinking of Ultimate Penitence is that it's kind of been my last resort oh shit button that I kind of push when I feel like I really need to get a lot of healing out, a lot of group-wide healing out, and this is like my pretty much my last option in order to do that effectively while also keeping myself alive. And I don't think that that is the appropriate way to be thinking about that button, but it's how I've been thinking about it going into these dungeons. So I had 2 of those moments in this dungeon, which was about, how long was it? 29 minutes? Yeah, 29 and a half minutes. And yeah, so I could have gotten many more uses out of it than 2, of course. Even still, it did about 2% of my overall DPS, so that's pretty significant, I think. If I were to push it on cooldown, I think that that would be much more. The tricky part with Ultimate Penitence, however, is just that, you know, you could push it and then a swirly gets under you and then you die. Or you could push it and then, well, actually, yeah, that's really the biggest thing. You don't want to push it and then have something come under you, and then, you know, it makes it not worth having pushed it in the first place just because it's not a safe thing to do. Yeah. Potions of Shocking Disclosure, used it 6 times. Kudos to that. I think I could have got more. I think it's a 5-minute cooldown, so actually no, maybe not. Maybe I did get all of them in there. But I did realize that I ran out of potions mid-dungeon, so who knows, maybe that was the last time that I could have gotten it, but that was about 1.7% of my overall. I'm not sure if that could be higher. To be honest, I haven't really looked into what I should be aiming for. I think that it would make more sense to use it in larger packs, of course, but I think in this one I was trying to just get it on cooldown, so anyway, all that to be said though, I think I am going to be doing maybe trying to see if I can find some logs to review for similar dungeons and see if there are certain ways to improve my overall DPS. I've been seeing a few other disc priests like in streams and things like that, and they're definitely able to pull more. So yeah, we'll see. I did run a key with an Ogvoker today actually, and my DPS was about 14k more than this, so that just goes to show makes a big difference. And I don't know, that's a whole other commentary for another time, but anyway, so with that being said, let's go ahead and clip on over to the key. Alright, so like I mentioned, I was approaching this key from the perspective of trying to up my overall DPS by the end of things. So going into this first pull, gonna go ahead and put my dots out on as many as I can, PI the Paladin, and then go straight into a Mindbender, Mind Blast window to basically mow things down. It looks like I used my potion pretty late into that pack. One thing that I tend to struggle with is I get a little frazzled, especially in the first pull of a dungeon. And so things can kind of come a little disjointed, which is not great. So I think the only piece of feedback for that would be to prioritize getting my potion off the gate, out the gates. It looks like, okay, there we go. So it looks like I had about 3 whole GCDs that I could have used Mind Bender, Mind Blast, that I did not. So really good to maximize that. This room always feels a little bit awkward, and sometimes I know that things can pull from another room, and so I don't totally know what to expect here. Okay, let's see how many torments I get in. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah. So that was an instance where I sort of messed up my my window there. That's tough.
My sisters will.
And this boss, in the times that I have run this, I have always struggled with this one as well. Especially the needing to move around sister is pretty tough for me. Like I got 3 torments so far. 4, 5. It's a 5 torment window. That's tough. Yeah. So this is going back to oh, and my schism is on the wrong target. Yeah. So I really struggled with this one. I think anticipating what type of damage was coming out and how to deal with it was pretty tough. So that was a very reactionary Rapture. Trying to go into a Schism Shadow Covenant to recover. That's 3 torments. Okay, that could have been 4 torments, but I put those bolts into... Ooh, that was only a 3 torment window. That is really tough. So I put the penance bolts into the paladin because I didn't know that he was going to bubble. And so those were essentially wasted, which is really unfortunate. That could have gone into the boss. There's 1, 2, 3. Alright, yeah, that was a 4 torment window. So I'm just really seeing that I just really struggled with this fight, and yeah, really struggled with this fight, anticipating what types of damage were coming out and catching up when I didn't know what was coming out. I think it might be at this point that I do an ultimate penitence because I'm just really struggling with. Okay, we lost the druid.
Empowered.
My body cracks. Release the iris to me, sister.
1, 2, 3.
My thorns will rip you to
4,
shreds.
5, 6. Okay, so that was 6 torments in an execute window. I melded off the jagged nettles. It went onto the paladin. But I had a couple deaths to top up, and the boss was dead anyway, so that worked out. So yeah, I'm gonna need to watch that back again in more depth to see how I could have improved, but off the bat,
Empowered.
understanding the damage patterns between the 3 sisters is so critical to plan how I'm going to approach each phase of the fight and what types of spells I'm going to use in order to do that. I think that it would have made sense to use an ultimate penitence in that instance, especially because I mean we lost the druid because I wasn't able to keep up. So, yeah, so that was tough. That was tough to watch, but hey, you know, that's why we do these videos to learn and improve. So sometimes you gotta kind of suck before you get better. And that's okay. That could have been an 8 torment window, but he died before I could fit those in, but that's okay, it happens. So I still don't quite understand how this courtyard is pulled, or how it is supposed to be pulled, or in what way I should be focusing on things. That was a 4 torment window. Let's see if I can get more in here on this other person. There we go. 5, 6. Nope, that was just 5. Alright. Pretty tough to watch that back, but hey, again, you live, you learn. So it's all good. I think one thing that I struggle with that I can improve upon greatly is I still have a very reactive, like knee-jerk sort of reaction at times, which in some cases can fit within sort of the disc paradigm of how, you know, the spec plays, but for the most part it really needs to be proactive. Okay, so there are 3 torments there. 4 and 5. That's not good. That is not good. I think maybe... So one thing that I'm noticing that I'm doing is I'm doing Dark Reprimand before Death. Maybe if I swapped that and did Death and then Dark Reprimand, that would open up the window a little bit to be able to squeeze in another torment. One thing I also struggle with is the way in which this section of the dungeon is pulled. I don't know if it's going to be pulled back out to the courtyard or just stay in the hallway. I feel like it kind of changes frequently, so anyway. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 torments. 5. Okay, that could have been 6 torments, but that was 5 torments. So watching this back, yeah, it makes a lot of sense that the Mindbender damage overall was so low. Yeah, there were plenty of times where it was just did not do it. Okay, so that's an instance where I sent out my Mindbender, then Mind Blasted, and went into the normal Mindbender rotation, which was then subsequently wasted because it was dead. It's another tough instance. I think one thing that I struggle with just a bit is knowing how to handle those cases where my Mindbender and Mind Blast are out of sync. And what is the best play at that point? Do I wait till they're both back up? I feel like that's not the play. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm seeing I've been very reactive throughout this dungeon, so that's tough. You can shadow meld those etches, by the way. If you're a night elf, it can help just with keeping damage under control, especially on fortified weeks. So I thought that we were gonna go do the other boss first, so this completely caught me off guard. um, yeah. I think there were a lot of things about this dungeon that I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants with. So, anyway, there are 3 torments, 4 torments. This is probably going to be a 5. Yeah, that's 5. That's quite unfortunate. So, yeah, I think that's definitely my biggest takeaway from watching this video back. And we're only 11 minutes in. I mean, it's crazy. We're 11 minutes in and it's, yeah, that's by far the biggest thing I'm noticing here. I'm gonna go ahead and I think, yeah, Mind Bender, Mind Blast into this servant because they were not getting DPS'd down.
Empowered.
Yeah, the Paladin again. So, I don't know if it was here or if it's coming up, but I think our tank A-bomb limbs the servants in. It must be the next one. But yeah, well you'll see it coming up here. It's a little tragic. I PS myself because I know I'm gonna get hit by that, and obviously, you know, you want to avoid getting hit, but in that instance I was too slow to get out, and so I went ahead and PS myself to ease that. We lost our druid. I'm not sure why. Not sure what happened, but we went ahead and rezzed. Yeah, so gripped the servants in, which meant that he went ahead and ate them, and that just pulses a crazy amount of damage. I was not expecting it, so I threw down a barrier. Yeah, that was not a great play. Yeah, I was very confused what happened, and because I didn't actually see that they were pulled in. I was so focused on the ad to the side of the room. So yeah, anyway. I get back up. I go ahead and heal myself up a little bit. There's no way we're going to be able to get these servants down. And so I just sort of focus on the boss. I'm not sure if we are focusing on the servants. And so, anyway, I'm not really sure what's going on here. This was just this was not a coordinated play at all. So I went ahead and did Ultimate Penitence because again, it is my last resort oh shit button, so I just went ahead and sent that. But because we have a blood decay and it was about a mil health, he was able to solo the last of it. But yeah, sometimes there are just instances where, you know, if a mechanic gets off, yeah, there's not a whole lot you can really do to recover, especially, you know, in a 22. It's pretty tough, so. But that's all right. We carry on.
You go on. Find Lady Waycrest. Settle the score.
Empowered. Empowered.
PI the Paladin. There's 1, there's 2, 3, 4. Ooh, that was a 4 torment window. So yeah, watching this back, I think that's going to be my main play adjustment, is I'm going to experiment with doing Death before Dark Reprimand. seeing if that can get me some more torments squeezed in there.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The thorns seek your soul.
So I went ahead and Mindbender, Mind Blast into the thorns. In retrospect, the schism on the thorns, I'm not sure if that was the play.
5,
Especially because
4,
other people
3,
had the juice
1.
to mow them down. It was a bop. The tank did tell me that he was going to pull the Soulbound Goliath through the fire a couple of seconds before so that I had time to
5,
rapture.
4,
It still hit really hard though.
1.
Notice that I did not have an atonement on the... Oof. Yeah, I did not have an atonement on the rogue.
5,
And I
4, 3,
was not anticipating how much damage goes out and how quick it goes out. So yeah, we lost the rogue. And that, I think, was definitely avoidable. That was definitely on me. So definitely much to learn there. The tank let me know that he was going to pull the Soulbound Goliath through the fire as soon as something came up. And so once the soul thorns go down, let's see what I do here. So I paints up. Yeah, it was very reactive. So yeah, put a barrier down for the next fire
5,
phase.
4,
Paints up myself to make sure that I stay up.
1.
And do my normal rotation while in the barrier. And the paladin's down. I think that was also completely avoidable. I was just focused on making sure that I didn't get hit. It was at this point that we basically said, okay, the
5,
thorns are going to go on our
4,
last DPS.
3,
There's
2,
no way we're going to be able to
1.
keep going, even at 24%. I put a shield on and then realized, you know what, no, it makes much more sense for me to run out and meld. And then reset. So this was an instance where,
4, 3,
yeah,
2.
all of the deaths were completely avoidable, and it was a case of me just not being prepared, just not anticipating the damage that was coming out, which again is so critical with disc and the way that the spec plays. So yeah, completely my bad on that. So going into this, now we have one charge of pain suppression. We do not have bop.
Empowered.
So let's see how it goes. Yeah, nope, one charge of pain suppression, no bop, and the cheat death is used on our rogue. So
5, 4,
not in the
3,
best shape.
2,
Also no barrier.
1.
So yeah, not in the best shape, but yeah, we'll see how it goes here. That's on the paladin. There is an atonement on him. I'm able to
Empowered.
dark reprimand into the roots, and so that kept him pretty healthy.
5, 4,
There's another missed
2,
missed
1.
torment there.
Seek your soul.
PS. Oh, no. Okay, I should have PS'd the paladin. I don't know how he's alive. One thing that's
4,
nice about
3,
Tyrannical Weeks
2,
is you're able to
1.
kind of script out what you're going to use when. Oh my god. Yeah, I should have PS'd the druid there. This is just watching tragedies unfold that I
5,
completely blocked out.
3, 2, 1.
I feel like I get into fugue state sometimes during a keep.
Seek your soul.
So this time, there's sack on the... Okay. So yeah,
5, 4,
the rogue got
3,
through with sack, just
2,
sack that time.
1.
I think I'm saving... Yeah, I saved my mind bender for that. Put a barrier down for the fire phase. Dark reprimand to
5,
heal us
4,
up.
3, 2, 1.
Seek your soul.
I hope I PS him. I do. Very good. I think this is another moment where ultimate penitence would have been
5,
appropriate.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Looks like I'm saving Dark Reprimand for the thorns. I don't know if that's the play.
Empowered.
Maybe it's not the play. It looks like I'm missing so many torments from doing that.
5, 4,
There has to be a better
3,
way.
2,
Going
1.
ahead and rapturing.
The thorns seek your soul.
I think rapturing just because yeah. I was rapturing because I wasn't exactly sure how to handle the next thorns. But then the paladin bopped it off, so it was irrelevant, but not totally wasted because, you know, the more shields you use, the more you farm down your PS cooldown, and, you know, that's always good, so.
Oh, dear. It seems you have slaughtered my entire household.
Drinking a bit before we go into this next room.
Dripping through the floorboards. Why not join me in the basement and marvel at death's beauty?
Dispel the disease on the rogue. And go into a Mindbender Mind Blast window. There's 1, 2. Death's on cooldown, so that's gonna be tough. 3, 4. Alright, 4 torment window. That is gnarly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Man. Yeah. So I think it's a combination of... I think it has to do with, like, when my spells are off sync, or out of sync. It makes it much more difficult. That makes it much more difficult. That basically guarantees that there won't be a minimum of 6. B, I think the sequence in which I'm casting my abilities is making it very difficult to guarantee those minimum 6 torments, so. That is tough. This was another instance where I cast Mindbender before, or sorry, Mind Blast before Mindbender. That definitely screws up the torment count. That's unfortunate. Just prepared and shielded myself because I saw the soul bolt coming my way. Obviously, it's ideal if everything gets interrupted, but sometimes, you know, especially if you're not calling things out or assigning kicks or whatever, it's pretty tough to guarantee that that will happen, and so sometimes you just have to make careful use of your defensives. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. 4. 5.
Empowered.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
Avenge me. Oh, look, husband. Your supper.
So I saw that the racking chord ability seemed interruptible based off of my nameplates, and so I asked our druid to try and interrupt it, or to, you know, use the silence or whatever that druids have. It didn't seem to work. Yeah, it didn't seem to work.
Empowered.
But it did later? I'm not really sure. Anyway, in all of that excitement, I was
Empowered.
really falling behind with healing, so lesson learned. Don't try experiments during a high key where we've already done a full wipe. That was not the greatest idea.
I will never let him go.
Going ahead and rapturing.
No, you won't take it from me.
Ooh, yeah, and Lady Waycrest came out swinging. This is an area that I didn't realize that the virulent pathogen spread if you dispelled it and someone was in the circle. It's kind of hard to tell who is and isn't in the circle, especially in melee, and so I kept dispelling basically insta because earlier in the fight I was letting it sit too long and that was pretty dangerous, but then that was causing more problems, so I wouldn't say this was the cleanest run for me. But again, we're here to learn, so it's all good. There's always room for improvement. I think the biggest way that I would have changed my gameplay at the beginning of that fight is tossing down a barrier. That would have been a really great value.
At long last.
Yeah, I have 2 charges of PS, so I could have PS'd myself and the boomkin. Yeah. I think especially in higher Tyrant that would absolutely be mandatory to do.
Death is an inevitable force
Yeah, I think,
that stalks you at every
yeah,
turn.
22 just isn't really the threshold of, you know, needing to
How is this possible?
do things in a sequenced way at a very specific time quite yet. That's not to say you shouldn't
Your
get in the habit,
ancestors
but,
wiped
you know.
out my people, but they could not. None will escape my vengeance.
Quickly, burn it!
I was on burning duty, so I was keeping an eye out for the little files, those little things. I don't really know what they are.
Five, four, three,
Quickly,
2,
burn it!
1.
It's tough to keep an eye out for those things. Oh yeah, I was not prepared for that burst at all. If I were to do that again, well, I will do that again. Doing that again, I will rapture the first, barrier the second, rapture the third. Hope it's dead by the fourth, which it won't be. So, personals, something like that,
3,
etc.
2, One.
Sterntide and I will hold them here. You
Yeah, there was no way we were gonna get in that, so I figured I would just stay in the barrier and grab it afterward.
Hurry! Set them aflame before the Trust King resurrects them!
Five. 4. 3.
Yeah, go ahead and rapture, because I know that the burst is about to come. Try and top everyone, much as I can. Didn't really do much. My ultimate penitence here, and I'm not entirely sure what the thinking was behind that in the moment, because people weren't necessarily all low.
5. 4. 3. 2. 1.
It could have been because there were 3 targets up and I wanted to get the dread-touched slavers down as quickly as possible. But I don't know if that was the best way to do that. It probably was not. Run
Empowered.
to grab the file. And okay, good. I got the one. Okay, cool. I got 2 more torments in.
3. 2. 1.
So I don't have anything for this defensive wise, so I asked people to use their defensives if they have them. But I will have Rapture up for the next one. I don't know if we need it. I think we do kill him.
5. 4.
Yeah, we do kill him, but we need count. So we have to run as fast as we can to talk to Lucille Waycrest here, and
A vessel.
we go to the right, which I
Blighted land.
don't think I've ever gone in here before. And so I didn't really know what to expect.
Gorak Tul has been
Um,
banished.
I was just hoping that there wasn't anything super lethal, because I'm pretty sure that I even disabled like all of my bigwigs for everything in here, just because we never go in here. So yeah, just kind of hoping that there's nothing super lethal, and well, we ended up timing it, so despite all odds, despite a full wipe, well, almost 2 full wipes, we timed it. So that's the key. There's the DPS spread. As you can see, Mindbender could have been so much better. That's going to be my main takeaway from this review, is shifting how I am doing my Mindbender torment farming, whatever you want to call it. I would say I think I cast Radiance a little bit more than I should have, but, you know, I was very reactionary this run. Yeah, again, Smite was pretty good cast-wise, so, yeah, all in all, I think that this went about as well as it could have for the number of times that I have seen the damage patterns, and to the extent that I was prepared to take this on. There is so much that I can learn from this. So even though this wasn't the cleanest run, I still think that there was a lot of value in watching it back, just to really take a look in more detail and more depth at my Mindbender torment farm rotation, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, all in all, that's the key. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.